It's Sunday, July 6th. I'm tracking the tropics. Also have the flooding going on in Texas, with more than 50 people lost their lives from that very intense flooding from leftover from Barry, Chantal moving up the coast of the East Coast with impacts all the way up the East Coast. Heat advisories up in New England, the Northeast. So a lot to get to in the forecast. Let's show you what's going on right now. You can see where Chantal is, right over South Carolina, North Carolina. It made landfall and now moving up just west of Raleigh, Durham, okay? And that's where the flood warnings are. 4, 5, 6 inches of rainfall. Fayetteville over towards a good chunk of North Carolina. Now, not quite into western North Carolina too much here. Stops at Winston-Salem, but definitely in Raleigh, Durham, seeing that rain right now. And this storm is going to push up northeast, up into the Delmarva, approaching New Jersey, New York City. And this is where you have heat advisories up right now. So this heat wave is not going to be as serious as the one we had a couple weeks ago, but there are heat advisories. You see those up right now across a good chunk of the southwest interior of Maine, the southern coast, back to Massachusetts, Connecticut, Utica, Rochester, okay? And there's up to the north, you have a front here, and this front here, while the precipitation is going to be heading south, okay, as Chantal, what's left of it, heads up northeast. Now, the good news is this is not going to merge and get worse. However, the storm is going to, even as it turns into remnants, it loses its tropical characteristics. It's going to turn into a big kind of a moisture kind of conveyor belt. It's going to pull a lot of moisture up from the south, okay? And because of that, it is going to make it very hot and very humid, and there will definitely be downpours in the mid-Atlantic. Now, I do want to show you what's going on in Texas. The good news is that the rainfall is a lot less today than it was yesterday, the day before, but the bad news is that obviously more than 50 people lost their lives from this catastrophic flooding, and it's still ongoing right now, and the rivers are continuing to rise. So it's a devastating, catastrophic situation, worse than 1987 out in Texas. So take a look now at what's going on here with all of the fronts coming through here. You got to watch out, these tropical systems, if they get stuck and they move over one spot and they fall apart, they can dump a lot of rainfall. So here's a look right now. You see the fronts coming through. Here is Chantal, and there it is over towards the South Carolina, North Carolina area, up towards Virginia. It's going to move up and then just get absorbed by this cold front, okay? And there will be enough moisture to get kind of wrung out, a lot of moisture, a lot of heat, that there's going to definitely be thunderstorms and torrential downpours moving up into the mid-Atlantic the next couple of days here, as that front kind of goes down to the south and runs into it. So on the surface analysis, I'll zoom in now where you can see Chantal. It is still a tropical storm, but it's weakening, okay? It is going to fall apart right now. It's just very close to Myrtle Beach, pushing up just west of the Outer Banks, okay? Circulation will fall apart. It's going to lose the tropical characteristics, and it's going to become a tropical depression, which is basically just a big L on the map as it pushes up to the north. Now here's the front up to the north here. Watch this. This is the front that's going to bring cooler air and rain and even the threat for severe weather into northern Maine, but that front's going to stop right about here. So if you're in southern Maine, it is not, in New England, southern New England especially, you're not going to see relief today from the front, okay, because it's going to stop. It's going to hit a wall. So here's the latest now from the Hurricane Center on Chantal. So 8 o'clock this morning, there it is, just to the north and northwest of Myrtle Beach. Here is the storm. It'll be a depression by tonight, moving up into the Delmarva pretty soon, into Monday, into Tuesday, okay? Then the storm will lose all tropical characteristics and push up into southern New England. Now, there's no reason to be alarmed for flooding in southern New England from this storm, okay? It is not going to pose a threat for that as it pushes up to the northeast. What it is going to do here, it is going to bring a tremendous amount of moisture. So you look here at the amount of available water in the column of air in the atmosphere, okay? So you go up in the sky, and where's all that moisture? Well, right now, there are a few inches, which is a lot of moisture in those clouds. It's tropical, right? This came from the tropics, this storm. So over North Carolina, Southern Carolina, you see where you have all of that moisture, the bright colors that are popping up here on the map. This is what's left, what's going to be left of Chantal into tonight, okay? It's going to pull all that moisture up from the southeast, from the tropics here. So I'm going to broaden this out now so I can show you this in more detail as we get into the northeast next couple of days. So watch here, I'll stop it right here. This is Monday night, and notice here, you've got all these bright colors here along the coastline especially, with a lot of moisture, 1 to 2 to 3 inches of available moisture in the atmosphere. Okay, and that's going to hook up with this front to the north here, so it's going to get squeezed out a bit. There certainly will be periods of tropical downpours with all that available moisture in the atmosphere. And here it is now. I'm tracking those green blobs. This is the rainfall. And right here, if you look at the wider look, this is what's left of Chantal. And here's your front coming through northern Maine. This is Monday morning at about 8 o'clock in the morning, okay? And then I put the map into motion Monday, Tuesday. And notice here, Chantal goes generally up the coast and then off the coast. It's not going to pack a big punch. There's not going to be a big tornado outbreak with this storm. It's going to push over to the northeast and then it's gone. Now, high pressure is not going to build in from the north all that much here. So there will be opportunities here for rainfall for a good chunk of the southeast and the northeast. On and off for several days here, you're going to see waves of moisture here, big green blobs coming through, right? So there will be daytime pop-ups and even nighttime showers and thunderstorms the next few days. I'll get into specifics in a minute for my followers up in Maine, but let's talk first about the dew point. So the measure of moisture in the atmosphere is the dew point. Forget relative humidity. Talk about the dew point. Talk about 70s, mid 70s here. So you watch this surge on Tuesday here. This is from Chantal. It pulls up all of that tropical humidity, that tropical moisture up from the south here. So you're going to have dew points in the 70s all the way up into Maine. And for Mainers, that's like dew points in the 80s, the people that live in the south, okay? Don't typically get mid and even upper 70s for dew points into Maine. But that is what's going to be happening the next few days with that tropical system. Now, there will be some relief this week with the backdoor front up in Maine and northern New England, but then it's going to reload. You're going to get a lot more tropical heat and humidity the next several days. This goes all the way out into the middle of July. I mean, it's peak summer, so you'd expect that. But yes, look at this right here. This is July 12th, and look at all of this humidity, right? These are dew points generally around 70 plus. So this is peak summer. So get ready for it to be very sticky, very humid. Now, as far as the total precip, look at the precip and the amount of actual rainfall, right, that's going to fall. And you can see here, this is what Chantal, right over here over North Carolina, all the way up into Virginia. That little stripe there is Chantal. And then this here, this is the cold front that's coming through from the north here. And it's just Chantal coming up from the south here. Now, fortunately, these aren't going to get together. We're not going to have all this moisture wrung out on top of New England, but there will certainly be downpours. But the heaviest the next few days is going to be right here, northern New England, basically northern Maine, and also up towards really Atlantic City south. You've got a bunch of rainfall there, and there's still flooding ongoing here over Texas, unfortunately, in central Texas, outside of Austin, from that catastrophic event the next couple of days. So that will continue as they continue to assess the damage and hopefully do some rescue efforts there. So now let's take a look at the forecast in more detail for my loyal followers in Maine. I want to show you the 10-day forecast. Humidity is going to be up for a few days. I promise you that. That is not going to change anytime soon. Heat and humidity rising. There is a severe wind gust threat today from about, call it Augusta north. Okay, so the Capital District, the Katahdin region, a portion of down east. Now along the mid-coast and even the down east coastline, these thunderstorms that are moving north to south, they tend to run into more stable air from the marine layer, and they tend to fall apart and not make it to the coastline. And this cold front is not going to make much progress. So I can promise you there won't be any relief from the heat in southern Maine today. Tomorrow, a little bit with that front coming down, but the humidity is going to be even higher tomorrow. So, mountains first, western mountains, northern mountains. That's going to be PM thunderstorms today, 80s, then 70s. We'll see opportunities for showers every day. It's not going to rain every day, all day, but we will have opportunities. Now, for inland, it is 92, 91. Add the humidity on, make a run for 100, just below 100 with the humidity that I just showed you. And then we cool off a bit. Eventually, the front makes it down from the north and we cool off to 70s. But humidity is going to be relatively high for at least 3 days. Dew points 60s and 70s. Coastline, now the southern coast is going to be a lot more hot and a lot humid. Okay, so hotter and humid than the mid coast and down east. The farther you hit up the coast, the less heat and humidity you're going to have, but it's still going to be hot. Okay, so 89, 83, 76, 73. Now the humidity, I took it out of the forecast from Wednesday on because it's going to be more of a 65 or lower dew point, not 70s, but it is still going to be sticky. But that's, for the middle of July, it's pretty typical. So I'm not going to make too big a deal about humidity after about Tuesday. But we will have thunderstorms at times. Not all day washouts, but thunderstorms at times. Thank you for watching Jason Nappy Weather. The latest forecast, the latest weather blog is on jasonnappyweather.com.